Paige Bueckers makes bold Steph Curry promise to Wings fans as last-place WNBA finish looms. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got to talk about Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings, because despite another tough loss, Bueckers is giving her fans a message that feels eerily similar to something Steph Curry once told Warriors fans back before Golden State became a dynasty. And honestly, it might be exactly what Wings fans need to hear right now. Another loss for Dallas. So let's set the scene. Friday night, the Dallas Wings took the floor against the Atlanta Dream, and unfortunately, it was more of the same story for them this season. They got blown out again, this time by a score of 100-78. That loss wasn't just another mark in the loss column. It officially clinched a playoff berth for Atlanta, while Dallas continues to spiral further and further down the standings. Now for the Wings, this marked their 7th straight loss. That's brutal for any team, but especially for a group that had such high hopes when they brought in Paige Beckers. At this point, Dallas sits at 9-31 on the season, dead last in the WNBA. When you look at the standings, it's clear. This has been a nightmare season for the Wings. Wasted effort from Beckers. And the toughest part for fans? Once again, Paige Beckers delivered. She had another impressive outing, 16 points, 10 assists, a double-double. She's been one of the few bright spots in an otherwise forgettable campaign. But despite her efforts, the team just can't find ways to win. It's a pattern we've seen all year. Dallas gets solid individual performances, especially from their young star, but when it comes to putting it all together as a unit, things fall apart. Whether it's poor shooting stretches, defensive breakdowns, or lack of depth off the bench, it feels like every night there's a new reason for why Dallas can't close games. Paige Beckers speaks out. But here's where things get interesting. After the game, instead of showing frustration or disappointment, Beckers stood tall at the podium. And she had a message for Wings fans that immediately made headlines. She said, just stick with it. Whoever we have in that locker room, whoever puts on a Wings jersey that night, that's who we're going to war with. She wasn't done. She then referenced none other than Steph Curry. Specifically, a tweet from 2009 before the Warriors became, the Warriors. Back then, Curry tweeted to fans, "Just stick with us, we're going to figure it out." We all know how that story ended. Golden State went from a struggling franchise to a full-on dynasty, winning 4 championships in 8 years. And now, Beckers is asking Wings fans to believe in a similar journey. The Steph Curry comparison. This is a bold move. Steph Curry's story is legendary. Drafted by a franchise that was known more for dysfunction than success, plagued by injuries early on, but eventually transforming both himself and his team into one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history. By invoking Curry's words, Beckers isn't just trying to motivate the fans for the next few games. She's planting a flag in the ground. She's essentially saying, yes, it looks bad right now. Yes, we're losing. But if you stay patient, if you stick with us, we'll figure it out. This will turn around. And honestly, hearing that from a rookie, it says a lot. She's not running from the responsibility. She's embracing the pressure, putting herself in the spotlight, and aligning herself with one of the greatest leaders basketball has ever seen. Last place finish looming. Of course, there's still the reality of the standings. As of right now, Dallas is sitting dead last. They're even 1 game behind Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky, who've also had a rough year. Technically, Dallas still has 4 games left in their schedule, so there's a slim chance they avoid finishing in the basement. But here's the kicker. 3 of those 4 games are against teams with winning records, including the Minnesota Lynx, who currently own the best record in the league. So, it's not going to be easy. Even if Dallas manages to steal a win or 2, it's hard to imagine this season ending on a high note. For all intents and purposes, the Wings are playing out the string and already looking ahead to the future. Why fans should still believe. So, the question becomes, why should fans stick around? Why should they believe Paige Beckers when she says better days are coming? Well, for starters, Beckers herself. This is a rookie who's already putting up numbers that rival seasoned veterans. She's showing leadership beyond her years, resilience in the face of adversity, and a skill set that clearly translates to long-term success. Add in the fact that Dallas has some promising young talent around her, and you start to see a foundation being built. Sure, it might not be immediate, but remember, dynasties don't happen overnight. Steph Curry and the Warriors struggled for years before things finally clicked. The same could be true here. Paige's undying belief. Beckers even doubled down in her press conference with a powerful statement. The people we have here and the belief that I have in the core and the pieces that we're building and how we're doing it, I just have this undying belief in it. I know that if we continue to do things the right way, continue to believe in each other, continue to invest our whole lives into this basketball thing, the results will come. That's not empty talk. That's conviction. That's the kind of leadership every franchise dreams of having in their star player. The bigger picture. When you zoom out, this season might just be the foundation for something much bigger. Yes, the Wings are losing right now. Yes, it hurts. But what matters is the culture being built, the belief being instilled, and the leadership from players like Paige Beckers who aren't afraid to make bold promises in the darkest moments. Think back to all the great teams across sports history. The Chicago Bulls before Michael Jordan broke through. The Warriors before Steph Curry's rise. The Boston Celtics before Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown matured into stars. Losing seasons often come before winning eras. The key is patience. And that's exactly what Paige is asking from Wings fans right now. Final stretch and beyond. So what's next? The Wings finish out their season with 4 games, likely knowing they won't make much noise. But don't mistake these games as meaningless. For players like Beckers, this is about setting the tone for next year and beyond. Every possession, every hustle play, every moment matters in shaping the identity of a young team. If Dallas can show fight in these final games, even in losses, that sends a message to themselves, to the league, and most importantly, to the fans, that this isn't a team that's going to stay down for long. At the end of the day, Paige Beckers' message is simple. Stick with us. Just like Steph Curry once asked Warriors fans to stay patient during the lean years, Paige is asking Wings fans to keep the faith during these dark times. Will Dallas become the next dynasty? That's a question only time can answer. But what's clear is that Beckers isn't afraid to dream big, to take inspiration from legends, and to promise her fans that this story isn't over. It's just beginning. So, Wings fans, are you buying in? Do you believe Paige Beckers can lead Dallas out of the basement and into the spotlight of the WNBA? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this is going to be one of the most fascinating stories to follow in the coming years.
Marine for players, and then we'll go to questions on the recording in progress before we let them go.
Maddie, you cut it to 4 going into the fourth quarter. Just what were some things Atlanta did to create that separation in the final quarter?
We just, as a group, we ran out of gas a little bit. We had some lapses defensively, and they're a great team. They're going to take advantage. They hit some threes when some of the second chances, and it's like you can't let that happen in the fourth.
Paige, Atlanta managed to make 15 threes tonight. It was pretty even in points in the paint, but just what are some of the challenges that Atlanta's offense poses to defense?
Just that they have interior presence. Obviously, 2 of the best close lazy PG, Bree Jones, and then they have perimeter shooting. So it's hard to double off, and it's hard to be congest the paint and try to get them because we were undersized tonight. So obviously we were playing to that disadvantage of trying to congest in the paint, help off whoever was guarding the big at the time, and then that creates kick out threes, rotation threes. So they just got weapons at every position. So they're tough to guard.
And then they're obviously a playoff team with championship contention. You guys hung with them pretty tight for a large part of the game. What did that really kind of show you about where this team is right now?
Who's that from?
Either one.
There's a fight about us. Like we talked about before, we haven't gotten the results yet, but we continue to like what we're building. There's a fight, and the more reps we get at this, the more we continue to build with each other. We're playing the hand we were dealt, and we have people coming in who've never played before. We have people coming in who don't know the offense, the defense, our schemes, and we're just all learning and growing together. But one thing about us all equally and that we all share is that we have a fight about us, and then we have a heart and a passion for basketball that we all share, and that will continue to carry us to the rest of the season.
Paige, you finished with a double-double, Maddie with 23 points. Just what were some of the things you saw offensively to create some advantages? And then also, what did you see from, Maddie tonight?
Yeah, again, teams just being heavy in the paint, heavy, congesting on all my ball screens. So being able to play out of an advantage and my teammates being aggressive once I get the ball out of my hands and playing to those advantages, I think they did a great job. And then Maddie, of course, just being aggressive on both sides of the floor, being getting out in transition, playing some post ups, playing just one-on-one basketball and scoring, just being a matchup nightmare. But no, she's a bucket, and she's continuing to be that way and consistent in the way that she shows up for us. So that we need that aggression from her, and that's what she does every single night.
The Christian on the Zoom.
This was really for anybody. It hasn't really been the season that, guys probably would have expected, right? But, through the camaraderie built as far as teammates, the franchise in general, how are some of the highlights that have kind of carried you guys through some of the low lights parts of the season?
I think the good part about having such a young group is you're very adaptable, and it's just you just on to the next thing. It's like Paige said, we've been dealt a tough card at points this season. I mean, we didn't know we were gonna have enough players to play tonight, and we just were okay, we have 8 tonight. We're gonna go with this 8, and this is who we got. We have enough, and I think that's a positive. To go up to a championship contention team and go toe to toe for 3.5 quarters. I think that just shows the direction we're going.
Last one for players to Rob on the Zoom.
To answer the pony, they made a mention he had a double-double tonight. And we saw the Wings really fighting hard throughout the game against Atlanta. So from your perspective, what are some positives you can take away from your performance tonight, as well as the team's fight, given it's been a process, and being a leader in that locker room? What's your message to your teammates and to fans as you push through these final 4 games?
Yeah, I mean, just to stick with it. Whoever we have in that locker room, whoever puts on a Wings jersey that night, that's who we're going to war with. That's what we believe in, and we don't need exterior belief. In that locker room, we feel like we have enough, and we're always going to fight and show up that way. And I remember Steph Curry before the Warriors became the Warriors. He tweeted out just stick with us. We're going to figure it out. That's the message. The people we have here, and the belief that I have in the core and the pieces that we're building and how we're doing it. I just have this undying belief in it, and I know that we continue to do the things the right way, continue to believe in each other, continue to invest our whole lives into this basketball thing. The results will come, and just to stick to our process and how we do things. Just have a belief and continue to show up for us. I know the results haven't shown yet, but the Thunder talks about it. The same people who were in the gym on the 9 every season are the same people who I want to be at the championship celebration parade. So that's the message. Just have this undying belief in what we're building here.
Thanks, guys. Very good. Thank you.